Welcome to The Explainer. Let's be real. We hear the phrase AI revolution thrown around constantly these days. AI this, AI that. But what happens when the rubber actually hits the road? What does a company that's actively building the future look for in the people they're hiring right now? Today, we're decoding a real-world, cutting-edge job description to figure out exactly what AI native development means in practice. We are going to break down the anatomy of this future-facing role, using the actual source document as our guide.
We've got a lot of ground to cover to unpack this complex document. We'll kick things off with the AI native paradigm shift, then dissect the daily responsibilities, examine the essential tools and languages, and finally, wrap up with what it takes for surviving the technical frontier. All right, let's jump right into Section 1, the AI native paradigm shift. We need to set the stage for the massive mindset change that modern tech companies are actively recruiting for. Our primary evidence today isn't some theoretical academic white paper. It's a real job posting. Right out of the gate, the source tells us this role is for a fast-moving technology company building AI-driven software products. And the stakes here are incredibly high. These aren't just quirky side projects. These products power major global industries like automation, analytics, infrastructure, and intelligent operational systems. That tells us immediately that we aren't dealing with a startup tinkering in a garage. They're building heavy-duty, infrastructure-level AI. And that brings us to a really crucial quote from the document. They are hunting for an engineer who has genuinely embraced AI native development. Specifically, they want someone who has, and I quote, fundamentally changed how they build software using modern AI tooling, autonomous agents, and intelligent engineering workflows. Think about the weight of those words, fundamentally changed. They absolutely do not want someone who just happens to use a chatbot to help write a tricky Python function. They're looking for someone whose entire workflow, from the initial concept all the way to deployment, has been completely rewired by AI. So, moving on to Section 2, dissecting the daily responsibilities. It's one thing to have the right mindset, but what does this person actually do when they log on for work on a random Tuesday? The scope of the daily tasks here is just massive. You're building AI-driven software products end to end. But beyond that, you're also creating internal tooling. That means you're building the very tools that help the rest of your engineering team use AI more effectively. You're contributing to the core architecture, and you're constantly evaluating emerging AI frameworks and new open source models. You basically have to be a builder, a tooling creator, an architect, and an active researcher, all at the exact same time. Now, I really want to spotlight this specific responsibility because it is the absolute core of this new frontier. You'll be developing and managing agent harnesses, prompting pipelines, and evaluation loops. Let's unpack that, because this is where the magic happens. Since AI models are inherently unpredictable, you aren't just writing traditional step-by-step logic anymore. You're building harnesses to essentially put guardrails around these autonomous agents, tightly controlling how they interact with your systems. You're engineering complex prompting pipelines to feed these models the exact right context they need right when they need it. And critically, you're building evaluation loops. Think of these as supercharged automated testing frameworks to ensure these AI systems are actually doing what they're supposed to do safely and reliably. It's a completely new layer of software engineering. This incredibly demanding work really defines the overall scope of the role. The document stresses that you're working across the full product's lifecycle. They explicitly call out building production-grade AI systems, agent frameworks, and scalable software products in a highly technical environment. This means absolutely no toy projects allowed. You are completely responsible for taking those complex agent harnesses and pipelines we just talked about and making them robust, scalable, and safe enough to run those global industries we mentioned at the start. Which naturally brings us to Section 3, essential tools and languages. To pull off that kind of massive scope, what exactly does your tool belt need to look like? When we look at the required tech stack, it builds a ridiculously demanding profile. You need the traditional full-stack environment, we're talking React, Python, Node, Rust, and Java, alongside modern cloud platforms. Honestly, that alone is a heavy senior-level requirement. But then, right on top of that, you have to possess deep working capability with LLMs, specifically Claude and Claude Code, agentic workflows, prompt engineering, and context management. It is a strict dual-stack requirement. You literally have to be a master of the old world of deterministic code and the new frontier of probabilistic AI models. And that leads perfectly into this quote. The document literally lists leveraging Claude and Claude Code as core daily development tools as a primary job responsibility.
AI assistance isn't a novelty anymore. It's not a fun add-on or a neat shortcut. It is an explicitly mandated part of your daily development environment. If you aren't using these tools natively to accelerate your output and solve complex problems, you simply aren't doing the job they're paying you for.
Simile. Section 4. Surviving the technical frontier. We've looked at the tasks and the tools, but what kind of underlying traits do you need to actually survive and thrive here?
Because, let's be honest, it is so easy to get lost in buzzwords like agentic workflows and prompting pipelines. But if we strip all of that away, what exactly are they looking for beneath the AI jargon? What's the true foundation of an AI native engineer?
The source makes this incredibly clear. They demand strong software engineering experience, hands-on experience building production systems, and absolute mastery of CI/CD, clean code, and scalable architecture. This is vital to understand. The AI native future does not replace the need for rigorous software engineering. It demands it. Because you're dealing with unpredictable AI models, your underlying architecture, your deployment pipelines, and your basic code hygiene have to be absolutely rock solid. The bedrock hasn't changed. The building on top has just gotten way taller and way more complex.
And to wrap up, the document closes its requirements with this incredibly telling phrase. They want engineers comfortable operating in ambiguity and solving frontier-level technical challenges. In traditional software, you usually know if a feature is possible before you even start coding. But in the AI native world, you're building harnesses and evaluation loops for systems that are constantly evolving. You are operating in the dark sometimes. You are truly on the frontier, figuring out how to make these unpredictable models reliable in real-time, high-stakes production environments. So an AI native job isn't just about knowing Python and chatting with an LLM on the side. It is a complete paradigm shift that requires dual tech stacks, incredibly rigorous engineering fundamentals, and a willingness to dive headfirst into complete ambiguity. The question the source material leaves us with is this: are you ready to fundamentally change how you build software and step onto the technical frontier? Think about your own workflows today and what it's really going to take to build the agentic systems of tomorrow. Thanks for exploring this with us, and I'll catch you next time.